Hi, Chef Ernest here. Today we'll be smoking a barbecue staple, one of my favorites, the St. Louis pork rib. Today we have a beautiful marbleized St. Louis pork rib. This is about 2 to 3 pounds. Marbling will help when you smoke it, and it reduces the fat and it keeps it in there and has an excellent flavor. First thing we want to do is turn it on its backside and get this membrane. You see this white membrane right here? What you want to do here is get right underneath. Very simple. I use a fork and a paper towel. If you do it right, you can get it all in one shot at one time. And now you can season the back. I'm using today the Jack Daniel's pork rub. This is a really good base if you like to, and you can add some more brown sugar if you want it sweeter. If you want more of a bolder's flavor, you can actually add some pepper. But by itself, it's great. On the backside, I don't really want to put too much rub on it. As you can see, I'm not putting anything on there. There's no slurry, there's no olive oil, just a nice little light touch on it. We're going to go ahead and turn it around. What I like to do on the top is get a little bit of olive oil and drizzle it. Two reasons why: it keeps it moist, as well as when we put the rub on there, it kind of rehydrates all those dehydrated spices and makes a slurry and makes a nice little paste on top. So I just go ahead and put a little bit of olive oil, kind of get in between the fibers. And once it's nicely coated, get pretty liberal when it comes to spices, especially when you're making pork ribs. You have to put a lot of rub on there. And the reason why is because rub is flavor, and you want it to get deep and penetrating. I just go back and forth in parallel lines. Then I go back. Okay, as you can see, I have a nice coat on there. This is where I like to use my hand, and I just like to pat it through. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these in the refrigerator for about an hour. I'm gonna work on that smoker. So it's been about an hour. Right now what I have in there is some Western lump and some hickory chunks. I got my space divider here on my Primo grill, and the reason why is we're not gonna use direct grilling, we're gonna be smoking. So we're gonna have indirect smoking. So what that basically means is we're gonna have one side of our coals and our wood, and on the other side is where we're gonna put our ribs. And the reason why is that we want indirect is because we're gonna do it low and slow. That's barbecue, we're not gonna be grilling. We don't want the full strength of that heat at 300 degrees. We wanna go ahead and put the ribs on one side. The perfect time is about an hour, and as you can see how the oil has absorbed with the moisture of the rib and the rub. Now you have more of a paste consistency. It's a nice bright shimmer on there. When it's like this, you know you've done it right. So now we're gonna do the first hour with the hickory chunks, and then the next hour we're gonna go ahead and infuse the Jack Daniel wood chips. Now our ribs have been smoking for about an hour. I'm gonna go ahead and add the whiskey barrel smoking chips. The key to this is to fill them up. You know, the more the merrier, and it's perfect because we wanna go ahead and cook our ribs about 275, 300 for 2 hours, and with this additional smoke, it just really bring it to the next level. I go ahead and open up my smoker. Really good color. We're starting to get the nice pink color. We're gonna just get in the chars. I like to put it right here. Set it on top. Close it. From here on out, you can go ahead and spritz every 30 minutes, or if you want the way it looks, if you close it, you'll be perfectly fine for the next hour. Okay, so it's been about 2 hours. And we're gonna check on the ribs. Usually right about now, I pull them off the grill. If you wanna add another hour to it to make them more tender, you're more than welcome to. But I don't know about you, but sometimes I do love some sauce on my ribs. What I'm gonna be using today is cherry and apple habanero glaze. Not so saucy, more of a light touch. I don't wanna really get away from the flavor of the ribs and the flavor of the rub, as well as the smokes. What it's gonna do is just add another element of flavor, just a tad bit sweetness and a little bit of heat with the flavor of the smoke and the season that we've been using. So let's go ahead and open this up. Oh yeah, pure aroma. You can smell the whiskey wood barrel smoke. You can tell it's just been sizzling away. I always add the sauce, you know, the last 10 minutes. We want to just put it on there, set it, and then pull it out. So I'm gonna put it on here, cook it for another 10 minutes at about 275, and take it from there. See how the nice sheen I'm getting, a nice little glaze. This is a little trick of the trade. I always like to glaze my ribs, and right when I'm glazing, I like to go ahead and add at the end just a little bit more seasoning. Two reasons. One, sometimes during the process when you spray or whatever you do that, it kind of comes off. Here, I just like to let it blend in with the glaze just to make sure that it comes out all uniform. Now we got a beautiful rib. We're going to close it, let it set for another 10 minutes, and we'll pull them off and slice them. Okay, so it's been about 10 minutes. Actually, I put it 15 minutes on these ribs with the glaze. Now it's time to see how they look, and we'll pull them out. Oh yeah. Now it's cooked on. Now we have a nice cooked on glaze. It's got a beautiful shimmer. We got a nice caramelization of the meat. The way they look, you really want to just dig into them, but you got to be brave. You've already cooked it for 2 hours. You've done every process right. The last process is any kind of meat, you got to let it rest. And the reason why you want to let it rest is because if you cut it into it, all the juices are going to run out and it becomes a dry rib. And you don't want a dry rib. So rule of thumb is I like about 30 minutes, no more than 30 minutes, 15 if you're really hungry. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these, let them sit in the house. You can put a little bit of foil on it. If not, you can leave them right here, room temperature, and then slice them in about 15 to 30 minutes, and we'll just tear it up in a little bit. Okay, so they've been sitting here for about 30 minutes, and now they're ready to cut. We got a nice, beautiful color to our ribs. That means we got really good smoke in there, and can't wait to try these. And they got a nice color. You got a nice pink through. And when you cut into it, there's no juice coming out, but if you just press on it like that, all the juice just flows all over the place. My mouth is watering right now. I need to try this rib. It's saying get in my belly, so let me try this rib. Great rib. You know you cooked it perfectly whenever you can have a clean bite through. We went right through. You can see it right there. You can taste the wood chips. You can taste the whiskey smoke. On there, you can taste the habanero glaze. But the great thing you can taste out of this is that Jack Daniel's pork rub. It has that really earthiness, but with the slight sweetness. And then when you accompany it with the cherry apple habanero, it's a home run. Again, I did these for about 2 hours. The longer you do it, the more it will fall off the bone. But as you can tell, the more the bone shows, the more they're done. I like to have it when it's showing about a 1/4 inch of a rib. I really like my rib to have some substance as well as a little tug. These bit right through cleanly, tender enough for me. The longer you cook it, the more tender it gets. But all in all, as long as you can see the bones coming out, you know they're ready to rock and roll, and they're still juicy. Depends on how you like it, but this is the way I like it. And like I say, guys, Viva Barbecue.